It's game week 17 time, and myself and my co-host Mark Ryman, we're back once again to ruin your midweek this time. We're going to try and predict all the games happening this midweek in the Championship. They're just coming thick and fast, aren't they, Ryman?
God, they really are. We're certainly back, and not another international break now until well into the new year. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, fed up to the back teeth. Is that a saying? I'm fed up with international breaks.
It's like a mixture of two sayings, I think. But yeah, we'll take it.
I've had it. It's like a kick in the teeth. It's just endless. It's ridiculous. But as a Luton fan, it's not so bad because I guess it gives time to reset, and we seem to sort of come back from this one. So it's not the end of the world, is it? But yeah. Yeah, I felt you were going to say something there.
Well, I mean, the only thing I was going to say about the last game week is, and I didn't think I'd be saying this a couple of weeks ago, thank God for Borough. Because without them, and Leeds and Swansea, to be fair as well, on Sunday, we wouldn't have that much to talk about. I'd just be predicting endless draws. So, yeah, thank you, Borough. And to a certainly lesser extent, Oxford United as well, for making the weekend entertaining.
See, I thought you were going to say, thank God there's no Ian Stone and that I'm back this week.
I'll get that fine.
Yeah. He was very amusing. Didn't know much about the Championship, but he was good crack.
I felt like a proper expert. I really did. Yeah. Oh well.
But while you're all watching at home, if you're enjoying our content now that I'm back and Ian Stone isn't in this, you're watching, you're not subscribed, why not subscribe? We have tons of Championship content. It's all a lot of fun. And you can even check out our Champ Chat where we get together at the pub and we discuss what the goings on in the Championship. But for now, let's kick this off with Burnley versus Coventry.
Tell you what, this is a tough one to call, isn't it? I think Cov did really well against Sheffield United, and on another day would have won that, certainly deserved to equalise, and stupid sending off from Omid Hodvich. I would say the young Coventry lad certainly looks like he's a proper, what's the way to say this without swearing? You all know what I'm going to say.
Discount Ronaldo. Right? Yeah, it's a discount Ronaldo, mate.
That'll do. Yeah, but certainly deserved to at least draw. I thought actually they really dominated that game. They looked impressive against a very good Sheffield United team. Burnley got another 1-0. That is what Burnley do, or they draw. So, based on that and Burnley being at home, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Burnley. But it could really go either way, this one. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, 2-1 to Burnley because they're at home.
Yeah, I didn't even want to try and predict a win either way. I think, is it Reece Carr that's taking charge of Cov at the moment? He's doing a good job. Chris Wilder said something very interesting because he, obviously Cov did really well against Sheffield United, and regardless of going down to 10, Cov looked fantastic. So Chris Wilder said he's a big Mark Robins fan, and if the players had put in that amount of commitment over the past 14, 15 games, Robins would have been in the job still. And I think he's right there. It's a stinky attitude at Coventry, and if Frank Lampard is indeed the one that's coming in, I hope those stinky attitudes get a stinky manager. That's all I'm going to say. Burnley won, Cov won.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? Be careful what you wish for. I know us at Luton have certainly been divided, let's say, over Rob Edwards, but I think that Cov fans in unison were pretty upset with that. So I don't really wish it on the fans because I don't think any of them wanted him to go. But yeah, Lampard could well be a false dawn.
No, very much so. He'll get good Premier League loanees in then. Right, on to Hull versus Danny Rose, Sheffield Wednesday.
You see, I made this prediction. And then I sort of second guessed myself a bit, because Hull against Luton were actually very good without having any end product whatsoever. I mean, you could literally put all 11 players in front of an empty goal and I still don't think they'd score. João Pedro did his best to miss every clear-cut opportunity that came his way, but they do look very good in possession. Sheffield Wednesday, on the other hand, are ridiculously unpredictable. But neither team are very good at winning games. And so, yeah, I've gone for a draw on a 1-1. I just can't quite predict Hull to win, because they don't do it at all, do they? So for that reason, yeah, 1-1 for me.
Yeah, I've gone for a Sheffield Wednesday win. A Danny Roll masterclass 2-1 Sheffield Wednesday, mainly because, yeah, for exactly what you said, Hull just look like they can't score. And you made the point in our match preview. No João Pedro has ever turned up at Luton Town, at Kenilworth Road, has he? But they moved the ball around really well, considering the abject weather. Like they look good. I don't understand where it's gone wrong for them.
I mean, they looked mad. I would say that. I mean, at one point they had like 10 players over the halfway line. No one back in defence with a counter attack. So yeah, they do look mad. You never know what players are going to be where. But yeah, really fluid football team. There's definitely some positives there.
Yeah, they just got to find the back of the net. That's it. They need a goal-scoring striker. That's what they need. I don't think 32-year-old João Pedro is the answer. And that guy, Bedia, that came on and missed like virtually on the goal line as well, don't think he's the answer either. But their owner's going to be spending big in January. No doubts about it. Cody Drammer looked good. But I still think Sheffield Wednesday will do it because they got just a little bit more confidence. They're doing all right this season so far. Right, on to Norwich versus Plymouth Argyle.
Yeah, another two teams that are pretty hard to predict at the moment. I mean, what's happened to Norwich's form? Unreal. And Plymouth, shout out to Andre Gray, doing it for his old club, against his old club. Love it. And celebrating twice. Fantastic. So that really cheered me up before, obviously, we then won the following day as well. But yeah, Plymouth hard to play. But I just can't bet against Norwich at home against Plymouth. So I've gone 2-1 Norwich. But again, I'm not fully convinced with this one either. Could easily be a draw.
Yeah, well, Norwich, their only loss for the last year was Bristol City rocking up and winning 2-0. And I think that's a really together Bristol City that did that. But Norwich's form, no wins in their last 5. Like, they had 3 losses on the spin. But Norwich at home, it's a different beast.
Yeah, you're right. I'd say the only thing I'd say on that is that any other day Borough win as well at Carrow Road, don't they? That 3-3 game. But yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So I've got Norwich 2, Plymouth 0. I do think Norwich are just going to edge in that form just before Luton Town rock up at Carrow Road. Carrow Road's a fortress. It is. Like, 1 loss in a year. It's not bad. Not bad going.
If you want a home win against someone, then at the moment it's Luton Town anyway, isn't it? And after Leeds on Wednesday, that may well be a tough game. But yeah, we'll see when we come to it.
Oh, we will. We will indeed. Right, on to Sheffield United versus Oxford United.
I am just going to keep going. Sheffield United 2-0 at home. That is my go-to prediction. They nearly always win 2-0 at home, don't they? And Oxford, off the back of that 6-2 drubbing, you'd think there'd be a reaction. I just think it's the worst team to come up against after that. When you want to come back after a game, I think Sheffield United away might be the hardest, or one of the hardest, maybe Leeds as well, to play away from home in the Championship. I can't bet against it. 2-0 to Sheffield United.
Snap. I've gone Sheffield United 2, Oxford 0. I like Oxford. I really, really like Oxford. But they've sort of come unstuck in recent weeks. Their only win has been, against Hull. And to be honest, most teams have beaten Hull. Otherwise, they got 2 losses either side of that win. And yeah, they need to bounce back, because Borough absolutely schooled them in clinical finishing. As you say, this is not the one. Yeah. This is not the one to come back from 2-0 Sheffield United.
Yeah, it's not 100%. That's a killer, isn't it? When you look at that fixture list, just those two games.
Right, on to Stoke versus Preston.
Since you and both of us started to big up Preston, I think they have only picked up something like 2 points. I really do. It's crazy. They have been abject. They got a draw at home against Derby. It's not the worst result in the world. It's a very sort of predictable result, really. And Stoke aren't exactly pulling up trees. They get the odd good result against Blackburn away, sticks out particularly. But just Preston, again, just haven't won a game in God knows how long. So for that reason, I'm going to go with a Stoke 2-0 home win, just like the previous one. I didn't copy and paste it, but I did think comfortable Stoke win for this one. Yeah, Preston have been poor, haven't they?
They have. And as you say, yeah, we started bigging them up. We started taking note of their solid defensive performances and their ability to grind out results. And then that stopped. Like, bam, they just stopped performing. It's crazy. I've gone Stoke 1, Preston 0, and I think having Big Vic at the back and Tom Cannon in attack, I don't think Stoke are quite going to the Premier League, but I definitely think they're going to be going to about mid-table as opposed to a relegation battle this season. Although the jury's still out on Pella, like people think it is the case that they have one of the best goalkeepers in the division at the back, and in the words of some Stoke fans, the best striker they've had in years. So could be papering over the cracks.
Yeah, he does look clinical, doesn't he? The goal that he scored at the weekend, another really good example of clinical finishing. So, yeah, and he fits and starts at the moment. But Lasse Lath for Borough has shown that once these kind of strikers get in form, then yeah, they can start putting them away. But you're right, yeah, I don't see them getting any higher than mid-table still, despite that.
No, there'll be a battle with Bristol City, and Preston aren't going to be mid-table this season, so I guess there's like the usual mid-table spot that's available. So yeah, they can slot right in there. Right, on to Watford versus Bristol City.
I've gone against form slightly here. Well, my form, not the club's form, and I've gone for a Watford win. Hopefully, sort of, in the vein of predicting teams to do well and the impact that has. Bristol City lost at home to Burnley. There's no shame in that whatsoever. They sort of win one, lose one, win one, lose one at the moment. Watford at home is Watford at home. They're a far stronger team at home than they are away, and for that reason I think it's difficult to bet against them. I think it has to be said how well Tom Cleverley has done with them, a team that was predicted by a lot to be down there or thereabouts, and they look a really strong home team, and like a number of teams in this league, just seem to be really Jekyll and Hyde home away. You thought maybe they'd turned it around against Sheffield Wednesday, and then go and lose to Swansea. But yeah, I think they're going to win it just 2-1 to Watford this one.
I've also gone 2-1 to Watford. No, we do not compare before we start recording. We do them completely independently. We've had a few that are the same though. Yeah, I like Bristol City. I like Liam Manning. I think he's done wonderful stuff there, but Watford look decent at home, as much as it pains me to say, although I doubt many Watford fans actually watch this because they know we're Luton fans, so they're not expecting us to predict Watford to win. But hold my beer, because I'm going to make them my lock of the week as well. More on that later.
That'll do it. Good work.
Yeah, so 2-1 Watford's. Right, on to, I guess, I wouldn't call it an immovable object meeting an unstoppable force. It's sort of like a movable object meeting a very stoppable force. It's Sunderland versus West Brom.
Yeah, a wobbly object. Yeah, both of them. It's 1 win in 5 for both, isn't it? Pretty much identical draw specialists. you'll never guess what I've gone for my prediction. 1-1.
Probably same as me.
Yeah. How can you not go for a 1-1 draw? Maybe you go for a 0-0 or a 2-2, but you've got to. Sunderland have gone from a team who playing great football and winning games to a team that's struggling a little bit. I would say this in their favour. They are struggling a bit. They have got players out and they're still getting points on the board. What they're not doing is losing games, and that is a good sign. And West Brom really similar. They haven't got as many players, I'd say, out as Sunderland have. But I've seen them in the flesh against Luton, and I'll be honest, they were bang average. Luton weren't any better, by the way. But to be able to get draws from those kinds of games is important. I just can't see either of them breaking that streak on nearly said Saturday then, on Tuesday night.
Yeah, Sunderland with defensive injuries, Sirkin and Hume both out. Isidore seems to have gone a bit off the boil as well. Like, you saw the miss prior to the Millwall goal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That is
It's very out of character for Isidore. Yeah.
It is. And it happens. But
it does.
Even that happens.
I've gone 1-1. Yeah.
Of course.
Did you see that video of the Sunderland fan that was streaming it in his bedroom doing the watch along, and then the stream cut as Isidore was about to shoot, and then the stream came back up as Millwall were putting it in the back of the net?
No, I did not, but I do want to see that. Yeah. That sounds fantastic. No, I didn't watch that one, but yeah, that's got to be it's got to be a bit of gold, that, I'm sure.
Yeah, very good from Millwall, but nevertheless, we're talking about Sunderland versus West Brom. Corberan's still doing a good job considering West Brom have looked quite shaky. Fair play to him. Best manager in the league, in my opinion. Reggie Lebris, I think he needs to maybe tweak the tactics, maybe have a plan B just for when plan A isn't working, when all the players are out injured. But Sunderland's still doing really, really well to grind out and not lose games, essentially, where they haven't looked at their best, but they're still getting the results. But this is, for me, potentially a game in the playoff at the end of the season.
It could well be. Yeah, it depends on whether West Brom can start picking up a few more wins. But yeah, I certainly see Sunderland there. But yeah, like I said, I don't know whether Joe Bellingham's back or not. Sunderland fans, I'm sure you can let us know. But that's a big miss in the middle of the park. It really is. So, I think they will pick up again. Yeah.
And moving on from the top to the bottom, we have a ding-dong at the bottom. It's Cardiff City versus QPR.
Yeah, QPR's version of a turnaround in form is getting the odd home draw at the moment, isn't it? QPR have just really not been able to find any kind of consistent form, and I'm still a bit of a mystery as to why that might be. Cardiff, after being excellent, unbelievably good, have sort of I wouldn't say reverted to type because that's unfair. I think there was a narrow loss against Luton, and obviously they got a draw in the last game. I think they win this at home though, because QPR can't buy a win. They really can't. I've gone 3-1 Cardiff, so gone quite big. And QPR tightened it up at home, but away from home they're still a little bit shaky. So yeah, 3-1 Cardiff.
Fair play, going big on that. Yeah, it's so weird with Cardiff because they were the most informed team in the league, and then they lost back-to-back, Luton and then Blackburn. I've gone 1-0 Cardiff here, but this one could literally go either way because you say you don't think Cardiff have reverted to type. I think they have. I think maybe that interim manager magic has worn off from Omar Rizza just a bit. I think maybe Ruben Colwell's getting a little bit tired because he puts in a proper shift. He's box to box every game, and maybe he's just not quite up to it at the moment, which is a real shame because he's a classy footballer. He really is. But yeah, 1-0 Cardiff. I think that to be honest, it could be a 1-1. It could be a 0-0.
It could be. Yeah, there's a lot of possible draws in this list, really, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'm just. It's more hope that it's going to be slightly more exciting in midweek. But I do think, especially by the time you get to the third game in the 3-game week, there's always some crazy scores in there. So we're going to get rewarded at the weekend, if not on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, I hope you're right. Hopefully the chickens don't come home to roost in the next one. Bias aside, it's Leeds versus Luton Town.
Yeah, I had a look. This was the longest odds that Luton have been all season to win a game. I'm surprised it's waited this long, but especially away from home. I mean, yeah, when you look at the Leeds results, I mean, they did brilliantly to come back to win that game 4-3. It was some pretty shocking defending in the last minute. Swansea just switched off as well. Well played, but crikey, you've got to be sick if you're a Swansea fan at that. Their home results as well have been pretty convincing. 2-0 QPR. They beat Plymouth 3-0, I think, in that last home game before that. Apart from the hope that their goalkeeper chucks it in his own net again, I cannot see this ending anything other than a convincing Leeds win. I've gone 3-1, and I think that's probably a little bit of Luton bias because it's probably going to end in a 0. But yeah, 3-1 Leeds, and yeah, it could be more.
I've gone conservative. I've gone Leeds 2, Luton 0, because Leeds, I've said it so many times, they don't go for the jugular. They're like sharks, but when they smell blood, they just sort of swim away and sit in their own box and just knock the ball around. They'll go into second gear and they won't press for more. There'll be a lot of possession, but they won't be probing or anything like that. Or at least I hope, bias aside. So I've just gone for a very slight 2-0 to Leeds. But out of interest, what are the odds?
I just had a quick look at it. I just saw the decimal odds. I hate decimal odds. I don't understand it. But it was something like 6 point something for Luton to win and 1 point something for Leeds to win. So yeah.
Oh, so it's like 6-1.
6-1, yeah, roughly 6-1. For Luton to win, which I think is absolutely fair, but it's the first time. I think Luton have been favourites in nearly every game, and I always look at the odds and think, has anyone been watching our games? But yeah, this one is a bit fairer. So yeah, it's fairly long.
Yeah, that's when you said long odds, I was expecting something crazy like 25-1.
No, we're not in the Premier League. We're not in the Premier League still, but yeah.
Right, on to Middlesbrough versus Blackburn Rovers.
4-1 Borough. Keep it going. Keep on the Borough train. I can't see him stopping scoring. I mean, if it wasn't against Luton, I'd have absolutely loved the last few games as a neutral. They have been fantastic to watch. And, you know, watching Borough play at the start of the season, you could argue it's been coming. They if they could have finished their chances earlier in the season, these kind of results would have been regular, right? Emmanuel Lattelas showed with his hat-trick against Oxford that what a player he is. Finn Azaz is absolute class as well. He really is. He can boss that midfield. What a player. And as we alluded to, you know, Conway's been a great signing for them. Is obviously thriving in a side that's attacking too. Yeah, they look unstoppable at the moment. I know what Borough are like under Carrick, so they will stop looking like this and start going back to 0-0s and losing 1-0s for a bit, because it will happen. It's guaranteed to happen. It's how many wins they can get between now and that inevitability. But yeah, I don't see it stopping here. 4-1 Borough.
Don't know who taught you maths. So the way it goes, 4-1, 5-1, 6-2,
right,
and I've gone 7-1.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've gone 7-1. But actually, looking at the formula, I think I've done it slightly wrong. It should be 7-2, shouldn't it? But I've said 7-1. I've locked it in. So I'm going 7-1 Middlesbrough. Just because they create so much, and Blackburn don't travel well, do they? So I think it's going to be an absolute spanking, mate.
Blackburn, who just come off 3-1 win. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, absolutely.
Oh, were they away? Blackburn?
Yeah.
Oh, they were away. Yeah, but it was Cardiff, wasn't it?
It was Cardiff. But I think it's fair to point out that, Blackburn had lost 3 games in a row before that, and it's good that they turned it round. But yeah, Borough are absolutely unstoppable at the moment. So that is a bold call. Yes, it does go from I'm holding you to 8-2 or 8-3 or whatever you think it's going to be for the next game. Then this has to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, if I hit this 7-1 or a 7-2, I'll definitely go big for the next one as well, and hopefully Borough fans will start following us. And I might even place a bet on it. I'm not a betting man at all. I don't have any betting accounts or anything, but I'm tempted to bet on it because I just think they're great. They're great right now, and they're obviously going to the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to sneak into the top 2. If they keep this up, they could do, though, couldn't they?
Yeah, but like we said, they have form for streakiness. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Their attack, we've always said it since the start of the season, their attack is up there. It's phenomenal. But their football in the final third is absolutely clinical. Yeah, really, really impressive stuff.
Right. Portsmouth versus Millwall.
I am now back on side with Millwall wins. They've been great, haven't they? They don't score more than 1 goal. So anything that predicts more than 1 Millwall goal, hasn't looked at the last 5 games. You're going to predict it now, I've said that. 1-0 Millwall. Portsmouth, on the other hand, they got a win, which is excellent, and a good, convincing 3-1 win against Preston. What a difference it makes, having Colby Bishop back in the side. I know his 89th minute penalty didn't decide the game, but that's got to make a big difference to that side. So it's really good to see. But Millwall just shut teams out at the moment. And they're a classic 1-0 team. So 1-0 to Millwall.
It's great seeing Colby Bishop back.
It is.
So I did have this down as a 1-0 to Millwall, but I changed my mind and I've gone 1-1. I think Portsmouth at home, they'll be galvanised by that win against Preston. They've come from League One, so they're going to be used to the direct barrage that Millwall are going to give them. So, yeah, gone for a score draw 1-1 here. And on to our final game, Derby County versus Swansea.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one that's hard to call, but you'd imagine, right, that Swansea are going to be reeling a little bit after that gutting loss. They did brilliantly in that game against a very good Leeds side. So it's a really difficult one. I think that, Derby at home, I've said it before, are a stronger side than Derby away. Having said that, they haven't won at home for a little while. I think their last win was away. Double check that one, but I think it was away at Cov. That was the game that saw Mark Robbins get sacked. I was tight again. I've gone 1-0 to Derby though, just.
Interesting. Two good teams for different reasons. Swansea should be much higher up in the table than they actually are. They play some fantastic football. They really do. Cabango and Darling at the back, they keep it tight. Unfortunate own goal for Cabango. Like when I was watching that ball come in, I saw Cabango sort of sprinting back to his goal. I knew that was only going one place. I knew he was putting it into his own net. I've seen that way too many times. It was unfortunate. I think Cabango's a good player. I've gone Derby 1, Swansea 2. I think, funnily enough, that was the first time they've scored more than 2 goals this season, Swansea. But I feel they got a taste for scoring goals now. Derby will defend well. Jerry Yates is doing well. He's amongst the goals now. Very good signing for them. But yeah, I can't see past Swansea, to be honest.
No, that's fair enough. I just think home form slightly, but you're absolutely right. I don't disagree with anything that you said about Swansea. It's just how they come out of that game and how much confidence it would have sucked out of them.
Yeah, this could all be moot as well because Storm Bertie, or Storm Bert, or whatever it is, it makes playing football quite tricky, to say the least. But I'm going to ask you now, who's your lock of the week?
Yeah, I was nearly went for Leeds, but I thought I'm not going to do a lock of the week against Luton or for Luton. I feel like both is some weird jinx. So I've gone for Borough to beat Blackburn just because Borough are absolutely on fire.
Yeah. I'm not bold enough to go for a 7-1 for lock of the week. I'm going to do lock of the week for Watford. I think Watford at home, lock of the week curse. Not that I said that. Yeah,
it's definitely.
I'm going for Watford, Bristol City. It was a tight one because I also would have locked of the week. I would have locked in the Sunderland and West Brom result, but I'm sticking to my guns. I'm backing Watford to do something here, and I by no means am I jinxing them whatsoever.
You've done it now, don't worry. I think we've covered that base. Yeah, of course. But that's us done for this week. And if you're still here with us, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We could be your new favorite YouTube channel. Just give us a chance, please. But as always, whoever you support, have a great week. And, well, midweek games, love them or hate them. They're here, unfortunately, to stay. So have a great week, everyone. Enjoy the games.